It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock you low. It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock you low. It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock you low. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Allen Powell Show. We are live on Facebook Live, also live on YouTube. Got a couple ways that you can check us out. So check us out either way. Got a great show for you today. My guest for today's show, Cliff Mason, holding us down from LA, California. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Excited to be here. We got some new developments in sports. Ready to get into it.
I know it's probably sunny and shining over there. We got tornado warnings happening over here, brother.
I don't envy you. That's why I moved back to SoCal.
Yeah. I think I see a little light shining in your background, brother.
Oh yeah.
We also have the original NFL Brett coming on somewhere down the line. She's in the middle, of the tornado warning as well. So we'll see how all of that works out. But we're gonna get right into it. She would join us when she can, and we're gonna get it on and popping. So with all that said, let's lock and load, get right into it. Like you said, there was a lot of things going on since the last show. So a lot of people have heard of the different things that was going on, but we haven't got into it or dissected it. So that's what we're gonna do now. The first thing we want to talk about is Drew Brees, man. Drew Brees had some comments. So, regarding kneeling, but it was bad timing. It was right after the George Floyd situation, and they asked him a question about kneeling, and he said he's still against kneeling. And he caught a lot of flack from teammates and all, and then he end up issuing an apology. So, first of all, what was your thoughts about his comments, and then the apology afterwards?
So, Drew Brees not just showed his true colors, but showed everyone why it's important to do a better job of educating yourself, on the issues, especially the most important issues, because he went a step further than just saying he doesn't like the kneeling. I mean, he said he doesn't want teammates that disrespect our flag. We're essentially like anyone with just a modicum of understanding of our Constitution knows that the flag represents our rights and our freedom to protest. The country doesn't exist without protest. The country doesn't exist without the right to speak against injustices that we believe are injustices. So this idea that people are disrespecting the flag from taking a knee just showed that he was particularly tone deaf, for one. And then, right. I mean, I'll address the apology after. I won't take all the time, but he to me just demonstrated who he truly was. If at this point we're talking 4 years later, or maybe 5 years after Colin Kaepernick's initial protest, if he's still 5 years later this uneducated, you don't want to be. And this is kind of the point I was trying to make last week. If you're at this point, if you're still making comments like that, not only are you uneducated, you don't want to be educated because you possess a certain level of prejudice. And to me, that's why the apology was so insincere in my eyes, because it didn't come from a place of authenticity. It came from a place of worrying about his bottom line, and he was probably going to lose some endorsements.
Okay. I got the original NFL Brat. Rhonda, she's in the building. We're talking about Drew Brees right now. What was your initial thoughts about his first statement, and then we're going to get to the apology afterwards, but just your initial thoughts when he first made his statements about kneeling, players kneeling?
I was absolutely just like floored. I couldn't, because unlike maybe some people, I've had the opportunity to be in his presence. And so it was like, are you really in this bubble? Like, some people look at it, and I think for me, knowing him, some people, or not, I don't want to say I know him, but I've been in a circle, or in a setting where he's at, and he's been doing some things. When he came up to the Hall of Fame once in Canton, Ohio, and he did something, and I just happened to be in the group, and so I didn't get that off of him. And so, and then all of the things that I know that he has done in New Orleans, he's done, especially just not with Katrina, just like, I mean, he's been there like 16 years. So to hear those words coming out of his mouth, I was like, one or two things are going on here. He's either really a true Stone Cold Stark raving, like, racist idiot, or he's really in that class that there are some Caucasians that are so in their bubble, they literally have no real idea about anything in around their bubble, what affects them personally, and that's in what he spoke on. But I was just floored. I couldn't believe that those words came out of his mouth. I couldn't believe it. I was flabbergasted. I was like, they had to mean Drew somebody else. Like, I don't know, Drew. I was trying to think, isn't the guy that just got drafted named Drew? Maybe it was that Drew.
let me say this. Let me say this because he was asked a question specifically about kneeling.
Right. I know.
And so he was definitely told that the timing was horrible, but he specifically addressed the question about kneeling. So do you give him any leeway based on the questioning, or is no leeway? He was completely wrong. He should know better. Cliff, get in there.
Unless
So-
he has a problem. Oh, go on, honey.
No, you're fine.
Unless he has a problem understanding the King's English, no. It's like, 'cause it was clear. But go on, Cliff.
Go ahead, Cliff.
So we're talking about an individual who's been admired by millions, and we talked about this last week. These are professional athletes with countless number of kids nationwide looking up to them. And again, that's no fault of their own, but that comes with a certain amount of responsibility. He should have, and I'm sure he is aware of what happened to George Floyd in Minneapolis. So this idea that you're going to make a comment that you're anti-kneeling after a man lost his life because an officer kneeled on his neck, like, to me, it's like, how do you not separate these two? And that's why, to me, the comment was just that much more surprising and disappointing. It's like, as a former Drew Brees fan, but I can't look at him the same after that, because it's difficult to come back from that. And that's why I say that the apology was inauthentic, because it didn't. The kneeling statement did not come from a good place. I always try to see the good in folks, but I can't imagine that came from a good place.
So after he made the comments, he got a lot of backlash from teammates. Michael Thomas, Malcolm Jenkins told him to shut the F up. Like, yeah, he told him to do that. Like I said, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. So it's a lot of top black athletes on his team he had to deal with, and then the apology came. So let's talk about the apology. He said he totally missed the mark. And I'm gonna say this, for some reason, I believe, like, he, for whatever reason, didn't recognize what was going on and just answered the question without taking the time to realize, maybe I shouldn't say what I'm about to say because this guy just died, and the whole reasoning for the kneeling and this and that. Like, I don't know. I think Drew Brees is smarter than that. And like we say, we've seen Drew Brees all up until this point with New Orleans, helping out with Katrina, all the different things he's done. How could he be so dumb or tone deaf to say these remarks? I thought he had a brain fart. That's just me. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But is that out of the realm of possibility?
This is where I am. Even if we give Drew Brees the benefit of the doubt, and we say, you know what, he was on vacation, he was completely oblivious to what took place in Minneapolis. He's unaware that tens of millions of people have taken to the streets to demand justice. How and why is someone against lawful, peaceful protest in 2020 after all of the racial disparities we see in law enforcement over the past, I don't know, millennia? So this is where I am. It's like, okay, we give him the benefit of the doubt. You're still wrong to be against this peaceful form of protest.
But and let me say this. We all know, the reason behind what he was saying. So he was saying, his parents or grandparents served in the military, and that was his reasoning behind it. Rhonda, go ahead and get in there because I see your look.
His body of work. So it's hard to believe. Have you ever looked at a situation and just the pieces just aren't going together? That's what this situation is. I feel like the pieces just don't go together, because I'm with Cliff. Like, where were you at? Like was he in Bali somewhere on a remote island? I mean, and then he didn't know that they were burning down targets, and police stations and was he not aware of these things? And just because my whole question, like, as an athlete, as a someone who's so much in the limelight, whenever any type of media outlet asks you a question, the very first thing you should do in your mind is say, why are they asking me this question? Because it's never just, like, they don't ask you about, well, what were you thinking when you threw this pass to so-and-so? They're not asking you because the pass was perfect. They're asking because that's one of those passes that for some reason Michael Thomas missed, and he never misses a pass. So what was on your mind when you hit? So you have to think to yourself, why are they asking me this question? And the fact that he did not do that, it just puts, it's like I still have love for him, because I feel like he manned up about being wrong. I agree. I feel like his man up did have something to do with, he didn't want his blind side to really be blind. In a few months, but I just can't. It's like he has an asterisk by his name forever with me.
Let me ask you this. Do you automatically, because I don't think so. Do you automatically, when somebody asks you a question, do you automatically ask, why are they asking that question? If you're in an interview and someone just asks you a question, do you automatically assume why they're asking that question? Or 9 times out of 10, do you just, you might take a little time to gather your thoughts, but you don't to give a truthful answer. But I don't think that you look at, okay, why is it? Is it some underlying reason why he's asking me that?
Think about it, Al. Think about it. Nothing. Okay, if he's in Bali on a remote island, he does not know what's going on over here, and somebody asks him that question. The first thing, why are they asking me this? This is old news. Like, they've given, they've said that they did collude against him. They've given Colin Kaepernick this money. All this stuff is over. Why are they asking this again? Why are they bringing this up? Yes, you would. My daddy told me, every time somebody asks you a question, you got to think before you talk. That's what my daddy told me. And I do. And a scroll goes in front of my face of a million things I could say. And I try my very best to pick the right one on that sheet of paper. And if Drew don't have that scroll, he needs to get it. Him and my daddy went to the same school. They need to talk.
I think, but see, and I could be wrong, but I think when you're thinking about your thoughts, you're thinking about what you're going to say, opposed to the reason why they're asking you the question. Cliff, what do you think? Is
the media?
Yeah.
The media is our piranhas.
Yeah, you right. True. Cliff, if somebody's asking you a question in an interview, do you think why they're asking you, or are you trying to gather your thoughts to make sure you properly give your thoughts out?
So I'm probably the worst person to ask this question because I work in remember 3 years of law school will make you think and rethink everything that's being asked of you. So I naturally do that. If somebody asks me a question, whether I'm in an interview or when I'm teaching one of my classes, it's like, okay, what's the reason that they're asking this? Okay, because that's going to guide how you answer it. I think Drew Brees has been a veteran for too long not to have more media savvy.
Right.
So that's why it's, again, inexcusable that he would make the comment. In addition to all of the cultural and societal tone deafness that we've already addressed, it's inexcusable because he's a veteran. He's supposed to be modeling for rookies and for the younger people in the league. Like, this is how you communicate with the media. You don't just speak off the cuff about stuff that you're not knowledgeable about.
Right.
You don't speak about anything. If they ask you, do you like this water right here? You think about that. The water could be by some company you don't even know. But we have someone had mentioned that he was representing Wrangler. Well, maybe he thought that's what the Wrangler people wanted to hear.
So let's do this. Let's dig into the apology. All right, because we really haven't addressed. Okay, so he apologizes, said he's 100% against racism. He does the whole 9 yards, and some of his teammates accepted the apology, says that's my quarterback. Some people like, okay, I'd rather see your actions before I judge. Cliff, what do you think about the apology?
It's like saying, well, yeah, I agree, water's wet. Like, what is that? Yeah, I don't believe in racism. Oh, good for you. That says nothing to me. I need to see. Well, one, I think it's too late. But can there be some opportunities for redemption? Sure. For other people, I think, who are more easily persuaded, and I think he's going to have to put his money where his mouth is, and I think he's going to have to go into the community. I think he's going to have to he's going to have to commit himself to some tangible solutions that are going to produce some goodwill with the black. I mean, he plays in New Orleans. I mean, my goodness, he plays in, a beacon of this wonderful black culture. Like, how are you supposed to be a community member and support your team now that this is the face of the franchise, this individual who's shown himself to have this kind of aversion to your existence? So I don't know. There's so much there. I can't imagine being a New Orleans Saints teammate of this man, knowing how he truly feels, regardless of what anybody says now, regardless of what his agent and consultants have cooped up for him to write and say he doesn't believe in racism. That's nonsense. I don't believe that clouds come from the ground. Like, that's foolishness.
Right.
Rhonda?
Saying you don't believe in racism is the action verb. It's the act that you take on being racist. So it's like, so it's your action, so like Cliff was saying, we're going to have to see something from him. He's probably going to have to take a knee. It's like we're going to have to, because it's easy for him to write a check. Mm-hmm. He's written checks before. I don't know if he's going to have to. I don't know what he can do. Like, I heard he cried when he was talking to his teammates, and I know his wife is crying, and everybody is like, this is a horrible situation, and it's like, and do I think it was disingenuous? I don't want to think it was disingenuous, but I don't know what it is that he can do. This is what I was saying in one of my podcasts I did right after all this happened. This is the soul of people.
Mhm.
You can't change your soul. Like, Al, I can't come up to you and say, "Hey, Satan is the bomb," and you'd be like, "Well, you know what? Maybe he is." I can't say that to you because your soul feels a certain way.
Right.
And so I can't change that. Now I can change your actions because you have consequences, but I can't change your soul. And so that's the soul of him. I can't believe that he is a college graduate. He's a veteran in the NFL, and he didn't know that when black men came back from World War II, they didn't get the GI Bill like his granddaddy did. I can't believe that he did not know that. And so it's I don't want it to be disingenuous, but you can't help but to think that you just said something wrong, and you gotta backtrack it. You have to,
So let me ask you this. So I'm gonna read some of the comments. Been a lot of comments, but it's one particular comment that I want to get to. Let's see. Let me go from the beginning. So Tierra Williams said, "I wonder if he really enlightened or this just PR." So some people believe, hey, he had a safe face, just say what he need to say. She says willful ignorance. Let's see. Justin Perry, he says Drew Brees has the highest immediate training. He knew exactly what he was saying. He was repping the Wrangler during that Yahoo Finance interviews. He was simply staying on brand. Let's see. Tierra Williams, exactly. He is supposed to be a professional interviewee. And then this the one let's talk about. Tierra Williams said he redeemed himself when he called out Donald Trump. So Donald Trump tweeted basically saying you shouldn't apologize, stand on what you said. Donald Trump always been about don't disrespect the flag and all of that. But Drew Brees responded back to him. And not a lot of people go back at Donald Trump, especially white people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did that buy him any more points for standing up to Donald Trump?
No, because it's too, and this is why I like Justin's second comment. His apology will be more genuine if he kneels during the anthem. That's when he can really show. Because to me, Trump is too inflammatory a figure. He's too inflammatory. He's too divisive for it to be redeeming to just go against Trump. It's too easy to go against Trump. Because going against Trump is, to me, akin to going against the Klan. Sorry if some of the viewers are MAGA hat wearers. That's my view of it. So, if you're a MAGA hat viewer, you may not like what I have to say. But to go against Trump, to me, is not a redeeming quality. You can stand with your black and brown teammates and colleagues around the league, take a knee during the anthem, and actually show that you understand the reason for taking a knee. And you legitimately share their concern, and you care about the right to protest peacefully.
Does he gain any points, Rhonda, from responding to Trump?
I think that was almost, to me, it was almost a little bit larger than the apology. That's my opinion. I think that because I feel like that's right now no football games are being played. That's the closest thing he can do to taking a knee. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you heard the conversation that he had between Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah.
His people got in touch with Shannon's people.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like I said, he's just, I think to me that was bigger. That was bigger than anything, because Donald Trump is kind of like the symbol of really who hyped it up too much in the first doggone place. I think it would not have been where it is now had Donald Trump not, called out anybody who, these SOBs who won't stand and all this other,
right.
He put flame. He put was a catalyst to the fire of the Colin Kaepernick peaceful protest. So I feel like that by standing up against that, and like you said, there aren't a lot of people who do that, like especially Caucasians. Like they're not real big on going against their president. So it's like,
nope.
So to me that was huge. Like that was the closest thing he could do next to taking a knee himself.
Gotcha.
I can appreciate that.
Players kneel, he's gonna be dealing with them.
That's interesting that you said that. And before we move on, would you be surprised if what happened to Adam Sandler in The Longest Yard, if you've seen The Longest Yard, when he was throwing the game, all the offensive line just dispersed and let him get sacked? Would you be surprised if Drew Brees' teammates actually did something like that?
Did you hear me when the blind side is really blind?
That would be hilarious, but it won't happen.
No, I think there's too much money at stake, and no, I don't know. They might set an example during training camp, but I can't imagine on a Sunday with millions of people viewing if they would do that.
Right.
I don't know that they would get up and walk away, Al, but there's gonna be a play or two where somebody gonna get in and he didn't think they was gonna get in on. I'm just saying.
I predict when somebody sack them on the other team,
they won't pick them up.
They've been doing that for years.
They're gonna give him some words.
He was a defensive player. He was a defensive player in the AFL back when Deacon Jones was slapping folks upside the head and stuff. Somebody's gonna pause and get in on him.
Because
he's gonna take a few.
It's a few people that's not buying the apology. I think safety Jamal Adams saying y'all showing who y'all really are. Save that apology. They not buying what they selling. So some people might, if they get in, get a sack in on them, they're gonna let them have it. But I want to move on. Right. I want to move on to another quarterback who just entered the league. And you know how Twitter and Instagram go. People can pull up all types of stuff from your past, and somebody pulled up something about this brother at the wrong time. So Jake Fromm, the rookie quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, had a text message. He was texting between him and a friend a while ago, and she felt it was her duty to put this up on social media, and it said that only elite white people should be able to buy guns. And after that came out, it's just the wrong time. Like, and I went through the article. It seemed like, it was kind of a joking conversation, but at the time that it got released, bad timing. And you still have to question his mindset to even say that. So, Rhonda, when you heard, and I know you real deep into college football, so you remember about him in college. When you heard that statement, what was your first thoughts?
Man, he needs to kick rocks. Look, let me tell you something. Caucasian people, Caucasian athletes, Caucasian movie stars, Caucasian CEOs. If there is something that you have written or said or done, email, memo, text message, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you better delete it. You better give that person you sent it to some money, because it's over. Like over. Like you're in Buffalo.
Right.
You're in Buffalo, New York. It's a whole different kind of black people up there in New York. What are you gonna do? You're booed every time you come out. You can't, and we don't know you. And I don't want to be wrong. Is from Alabama?
I believe from Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. I was down. Okay, Georgia. I would. So you coming from one of these southern schools, and you're making these comments, these MAGA states, and you're saying these things. I mean, I'm just saying, they're.
I
don't
got
know.
you.
I don't know what do they do. What I mean, I just don't know what. I don't know what y'all. They have got to figure out a way to stop this because this. Have you noticed? This is constantly happening. The guy from Bon Appetit went to a Halloween party with his wife dressed as Puerto Ricans. You know, with a brown. You know that he resigned. Like,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
man.
I don't. Right.
It's
There has to be. If there's not consequences for these actions, it's going to continue. And the only way to stop this stuff is a consequence. He needs to have a consequence. Now, he ain't starting no football game.
But what type of consequence for something that happened probably years ago? What's the consequence?
I don't think he should lose his job for being dumb.
Right.
You know, but it's like he's going to have to understand that he's going to lose fandom for being a racist. I mean, elite white people. So that means the trailer park white people can't even sign with him either, right?
I was just about to say.
He done moved out a whole lot of people. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
You know, it's like elite. Were you elite before you went to Georgia? Like, can we know a little something about you? Like,
now to put the whole story out there, he did say later on in the conversation that he didn't consider himself elite. But Cliff, give me your comments about this statement.
So this, I'm gonna bring it back. If y'all remember the Chappelle Show, this is when keeping it real goes wrong. When keeping it real goes wrong because I agree with what, like, you say something dumb, or you do something dumb, you know what you did, you know what you've put out there for public consumption. Now it's time to walk it back. I think he could have gotten out front of this statement. And I'm an educator, so this is where my mind goes. I think there needs to be, in all K-12 like curriculums across the country, there should be some education around social media and just how to interact and what it means to put something on the internet. It means it's permanent. It means it will follow you or haunt you the rest of your life. Right. Not to defend this clown, because I'm not sure if he's a person that's worthy of defending, but I think he could use some better agents who should be, anytime you sign with an agent, the first thing they should be doing is going through every single social media that you have, seeing if there's anything that they need to get out front of. That's the first thing they should be doing.
Hold on. Time out. So you saying it's the agent's job to go back years and years and years of posts to find out what you done did?
That's your investment.
That's true. That's true. If you want to get paid, if you want to be my agent, I guess so. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Cliff, you're right. Cliff is right. Look, when my son was in 7th grade, and I'm sorry, 8th grade, he wanted to play football, and he would have his little Twitter. I'm like, babe, you can't put that on Twitter. Take that off. What is that? You know better than that. They have classes talking to these athletes. They go to these elite camps. My son went to a couple of the elite camps. They have Nike camps. They have this in there. Hey, watch what you text to people. Watch because when you put that on there, it's permanent. They have removed people's scholarships from putting things on. 2 girls just got kicked out of Penn State. A guy lost his scholarship to Harvard. They've been talking about this for years, okay, about what not to put on there. Cliff is exactly right.
Let me say this.
Can I reply to this comment real quick?
Go ahead. Which comment?
Someone says, is there such a thing as redemption? Please don't hold me responsible for 2003. Yes. So, okay. There should never be a statute of limitation on morality and just treating people. So if somebody does something that
you learn, right? You do learn. You make mistakes.
For this individual, this is a stupid comment. Fahn's comment was dumb. Right. But I think there's other things, like in people's past, that is not redeemable. We should never just brush it under the rug. So don't hold people accountable for I always hold people accountable. Don't hold people to a standard when they're probably 8, 9, 10 years old. But if you're an adult, you're doing things in college, yeah, I think you should be held responsible for things you do in college.
Right.
Or even things you do as an 18, 17-year-old. I'm sorry,
What
but
about
black men in America are tried as adults at 16 and 15.
what,
So why
was the
not
girl
hold white
was,
America responsible?
if was the girl bogus for releasing that text message?
Well,
if you was texting with a friend and she ended up releasing that private text message, how would you feel about that?
I think her motivation should be questioned.
Yes.
But
she felt convicted.
Is she worse than him?
She felt convicted by what's going on in the world to post this. That's
and
what
that
reports say.
And that should tell us about what he's. Sorry.
Say that again.
What'd you say?
I said she's mad because she's not Mrs. Fromm.
Possibly.
It's possible.
Yeah. I think that also can tell us a little something about other things that he might have said. That she's like, you know what? This guy says the most off the wall comments. People should have a look inside his heart a little bit.
Yeah. So, and we all know that he ended up apologizing as well for those comments, that he made. But I would say that's a bad way to start off your rookie season. Yeah. Because there's going to be some teammates looking at you sideways already, and you're not even a starter. So, it was some reports saying, he might get cut. He wasn't a first round pick or anything like that. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that he can get cut. So, but
they're a dysfunctional franchise regardless. It doesn't matter ultimately.
Yeah. So that was
easy on Buffalo, okay?
Yeah.
I'm the NFL brat because of Buffalo.
I'm gonna move on, man. I'm gonna move on to Roger Goodell. Made his statement after a video of some of the top QBs and players made a video. All of them were black. They came out, and you got Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Tyrann Mathieu, and you have those top name quarterbacks coming out and taking a stand. Mm-hmm. Roger Goodell ends up making a video saying he condemns racism, Black Lives Matter, all of these things that he said that he never said before. He said it now. Mm-hmm. One name that we didn't hear about was Colin Kaepernick. But what do you make of Roger Goodell's comments, Cliff?
I was pleasantly surprised. I did not see it coming because I thought Goodell was going to continue to be the outward face of a mob of racist owners who wanted to continue to hide kind of their kind of supremacist regime, just hide behind Goodell, because Goodell has to be the voice and the face of the owners. So I was pleasantly surprised. And the fact that he said Black Lives Matter, I was like, whoa, right. Goodell? This is Goodell? What's happening? Am I in an alternate universe? So I think it's interesting. Like earlier said, like, well, you believe that the tweet response to Trump was actually more redeeming than the apology. I think Goodell saying Black Lives Matter in that statement shows that there might be a corner turned. Now, I think similar to Justin's comment earlier, I think we won't truly know where the NFL stands until we see the reaction and the support of players who need during the end.
Go ahead, Rhonda. Thoughts on the statement?
This on Goodell's statement. I wasn't surprised. I saw Goodell with a shirt on with no tie, lean back in a leather chair, dapping it up with Jay-Z. I figured this was on its way. I figured that this is the train that Goodell is going to ride. Goodell made the speech because he decided that in this situation, he was going to be on the right side of history. Just like Art Rooney did years ago. He decided that he had to make a stand and be on the right side of history. What I will tell you is that he did consult with some of those big owners,
Right.
and when I say big owners, I'm talking about the Jerry Joneses, Davis's son. I'm sorry, I don't know, baby Davis.
Mark Davis from the Raiders.
Martin. Right. Mike Brown. I want to tell you, Paul Brown made a choice to be on the right side of history years ago. When he drafted my father. So it's like, so I just think he made it. He was already on this train. I was not surprised at all, honestly.
Tierra Williams said, "What happened?"
I was.
Gotcha. Tierra Williams said, "What have the owners said?" We haven't heard from any owners yet. Any owners, and so we're still. But I think that kind of tells you the mindset from the owners. You know, they're older white men. So you know, I'm not. I think I'm probably. Well, we heard a little something, I think, from Jacksonville's owner because he's a minority. But he's the only. Khan from Jacksonville. Yeah. But no other owners have said anything. But in my opinion, I think Roger Goodell looked at, wow, okay, Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the league right now. You got Russell Wilson, some top athletes speaking out like this. Okay, I have to. I don't think I think it has more to do with that than the Jay-Z connection. When your top athletes take a stand like that, then
Tom Brady made. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead.
No, Tom Brady came out with something with the gentleman who was shot by those two vigilante people in Georgia before all of this, happened. And so, and that was huge. That kind of struck me. I was a little like, wow, that blew me over more than some of this other stuff. This is all going to, the only way that, and it's sad to say, but the only way that this is going to be properly validated is when Caucasian athletes, not so much entertainers, because entertainers kind of always do this, but but when these Caucasian athletes and owners step up, and say something. And so when Roger Goodell said that, when Tom Brady says that, when we get Kraft to say something, when we get Jerry Jones to say something, this is when it's going to start to make a full turn of the tide. So yeah, I don't know. I still think that there are people in his ear that have been in his ear for a while, and I just felt like this is just a train that he is going to ride. I mean, he has his guaranteed contract. You know, they can't get rid of him right now, so he can kind of do what he wants to do. But I wasn't really surprised by it.
Gotcha. Last question before we move on. There's been a lot of Colin Kaepernick talk because, you know, he was like the original starter of the movement, but a lot of people have been talking about him possibly getting a job because a lot of people are saying, okay, Roger Goodell, we hear what you're saying, but until the Colin Kaepernick is addressed, until he gets a job, none of this means anything. So give me a percentage on Colin Kaepernick landing on a team eventually. Rhonda, what's your percentage, Rhonda? Percentage.
I'm still going to give. I'm going to give you. I'm going to say a 60.
60% chance.
60?
Yeah.
You don't believe that? 60%? 60%?
What's your percentage, Cliff?
So I'm at 5%, and the only reason I'm at 5 is because I think unless there's got to be a team that's in playoff contention that loses its starting quarterback before the trade deadline.
Gotcha.
And because we know Colin's better than every
That
backup
happens
right now in
every
the league. It's got to be a team that's in playoff contention that loses the starting quarterback before the trade deadline, or whenever in the NFL you can still pick up a player off of waivers. But otherwise, I don't see anybody signing this man.
So you said 5%, just 5?
Yeah, because I think that's the only way. It's got to be a team in playoff contention that loses their quarterback just before the trade deadline.
I say 40%, and it has to be for a black coach. It has to be for a black coach.
That's 3 teams. There's 3 teams, right?
That's just what it is. So matter of fact, whatever the percentage of black coaches in the league, that's the percentage I give Kaepernick of getting back in the league. So drop that 40% and drop it to what 15% or whatever it is. I don't have my calculator out and I don't have my math things on.
So I actually, sorry, real quick before we get to
NBA.
go ahead.
Glennon again.
How many black GMs are there? Because there's probably more likely that a black GM would sign him before a black head coach would have that authority. 2 black GMs?
Yeah, he's not going to Cleveland or Miami.
Well, maybe drop the percentage to 2.
Black GM.
Tierra Williams said he won't get a job on the field, but he may get an office job, which will kill 2 birds in one stone. So there's a take. That's a possibility as well. I want to move on though.
All right.
I want to move on to this story. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney is in a little hot water for a couple of things. First, it came out that assistant coach used the N-word. Now, to put it into context, it was an argument between a player and another player, or the player and the coach, and he told the coach, I blocked the wrong N-word. And the coach says, we don't say you blocked the wrong N-word. So my question is, and Dabo Swinney says because he didn't call him the N-word, he said if he would have called him the N-word, he would have fired him. But because he just repeated it, he's kind of like letting it go. Is there a line? Is there a line where is it okay to repeat it if somebody else says it? It's like it's taboo. Like if you're playing taboo, you know you can't say the word, but then if you say the word, then it's okay to say it. But with this situation, is it okay to say it if you're just repeating what the player said, or is it off limits altogether? Rhonda.
Caucasians cannot police us using the N-word, and they cannot use it. But no, he should not lose his job for doing that.
Okay, but he shouldn't lose his job.
Did that all?
That's good. You covered everything. You covered everything.
I mean, he repeats right. They can't police me using it. They can't use it. But no, I don't. That was he just no.
Gotcha.
But we got bigger fish to fry, people.
Yeah, I'm much more of the zero tolerance policy when it comes to white people using the N-word. Whether you're repeating it, whether you're using it in your own original creation, there has to be consequences for actions, and there is no excuse. Whether people need to understand that. For our ancestors, and some people, it wasn't that many generations ago, that was the last word they heard before they were lynched. So that word means something. He needs.
So what should be the consequence?
He's done. I'm zero tolerance to white people using the N-word. And I'm not going to change from that. He's done.
Gotcha. So real quick.
I think yeah.
So he also had a situation where he had a shirt that had Football Matters on it. Once again, you can't do that.
Is this like a take on All Lives Matters?
That people don't know. When you wear something like that, that's what people automatically attach it to.
And he's still employed by Clemson?
He's still employed by Clemson. Yes, he is.
I mean, he's got to go. Come on, Dabo. I actually like Dabo. Dabo's got to do something. The dude's got to go.
I used to like Dabo.
Yeah.
They're not gonna fire Dabo.
No, he's too high profile. He's too high profile of a coach. He's too high profile of a coach. But for him to have that, I know. Like, it was for him to wear that shirt is like Drew Brees making a statement that he made. Straight tone deaf. You can't do that. You can't do it. And I thought Dabo was smarter than that. But hey,
5 years ago, Dabo has that T-shirt on. Hell, I'm trying to buy one. You know, but but I mean, I
that's
feel like
facts,
it was completely dumb.
Yeah, if him or Nick Saban had it on 5 years ago, maybe. But in context, and we talk about holding Drew Brees to a standard because he should know what's happening right now in the world. Dabo Swinney should understand. His assistant coach is walking around with Football Matters shirt. No, he needs to understand this is clearly part of that same dog whistling to folks with ill intentions, that he can silence that dog whistle and he can replace him.
Right. Yeah, I thought he was. I put more responsibility. I put more responsibility on Dabo than Drew.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like when you're a coach, it's like these players are looking up to you. You're a leader of men, supposed to be. You know, Drew Brees, you know, he's the quarterback, the leader of the team, but not the leader of the offense, so to speak. But I don't put the same responsibility Drew Brees as on Dabo Swinney. But both of them are bad. Both are bad altogether.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't so crazy about him in the first place. I'm not feeling Clemson at all. I
like Dabo.
So they can drop him.
I like Dabo before these things came out. But I got another story. We got some
my coach. Yeah.
We hitting the NASCAR circuit. We have no limits on this show. So we had a NASCAR story. The only black driver in NASCAR says he wants the Confederate flags removed. I feel like he just riding the wave. He like, you know what? All the stuff going on. Let me just try to shoot for the gusto. I know I'm the only black person in NASCAR, but let's see. He said he wants all the Confederate flags removed from NASCAR. And what are the chances that he actually gets that clip?
The flags should be removed from any. The chances that he gets it removed from NASCAR paraphernalia are higher than the chances are that he gets it removed from his competitors. Like if there's other NASCAR drivers with that sticker on their car, he doesn't really have any control or power over them. But NASCAR should take this to heart. Like I think NASCAR is, I would say 70%. If there's any affiliation with like any NASCAR paraphernalia that has Confederate flags on it, I think NASCAR acts immediately because it should have been gone. And that's a whole nother conversation, like what the Confederate flag represents. Like one, it's a flag of treason. So why are we supporting this flag of these traitors? For one, what are we talking about? I don't know. It's like why would someone even celebrate this traitorous symbol of the nation? So of course NASCAR should remove any affiliation to the Confederacy.
And he said he's going to get some backlash. He said, I know a lot of people that's not going to like it. And I think it's because of the audience that's in NASCAR, the audience and the drivers. If he's the only black driver, the rest are white. He knows that culture. Rhonda, what's the chances of he actually gets the Confederate flags removed from the circuit?
I think he has a very good chance. I think he needs to get it removed from that. I don't think they need to be able to bring him to whenever we get fans back in the stands. Don't bring them there. You can't do that. That represents, like you said, that represents treason, tyranny against our American flag. And everybody wants to respect the American flag. Okay. Well, then that is disrespect to the American flag. Yeah. So while we talking about respecting the flag, that is the ultimate disrespect to it. So,
And I'm
Yeah.
you know, they always telling us, get over Trump. We lost. Hey,
right.
get over the flag. Y'all lost. Period. It wouldn't be okay for a
Yep.
swastika flag to be going around, right? Okay.
I
Remove
think
it. And
that
don't bring them to the game. Don't.
I think that what's crazy is this wasn't brought up years ago, but I think that the fact that he's seeing this wave, he said, I see an opportunity. Let me go ahead and just go for it right now.
Shoot my shot.
So,
yeah.
Ride it. Ride it, dog. Ride it.
What's the percentage y'all gave that he gets it done?
I say 70. I think it's high.
Wow.
Rhonda? I'm gonna go like 90. I think they're gonna do it.
But I think in the crowd. So I think NASCAR is going to understand the moment, and I think they're going to respond the way that they should, so that they're on the right side of history, like to Rhonda's point earlier. But I also think that there's going to be some backlash to the driver's point, and you're going to see folks in the crowd, in the audience, that is predominantly white, and they're going to have their flags. They're going to be flying them. They're going to be wearing them. They're going to be showcasing them, and that's going to be an unfortunate reaction. But I prefer that NASCAR kind of show the model of what it should be, and I think it's high.
So before we leave, hold on. Tierra Williams said they are going to have to ban it in the audience like they do outside snacks and water.
That's a good point.
Come on.
Yeah.
It ain't like they're going to boycott. It ain't like they're going to boycott because that's their livelihood. So they're not going to boycott. They'll just have to suck it up and deal with it.
Before we get up out of here, the NBA did. Yeah. Before we get out of here, Justin Campbell said snacks is more important than Black Lives. Hey,
I just read that. Yeah, he's not wrong.
Hey, before we get out of here, the NBA did approve the 22 team return plan. Real quick, are you excited about the NBA returning, Cliff?
No. No.
There it is. What do you think about
there's a lot more, but
what do you think about the 22 team plan?
This is the time of year when teams can evaluate young players, they can evaluate undrafted players, they can evaluate people who are trying to make a roster, and oftentimes there's upsets. And you talk about seeding changes, people are down by a half a game or a full game, and there's always changes to the 1 through 8 order on both halves. So to me, to say we're just going to cut off the folks who aren't in playoff contention does a disservice, not just to the fans, but it does a disservice to the competitive nature of the end of the season. So if they can't do it in full, with a full representation of all the players who have worked hard all summer in preparation for the season, then they should just axe the season, which sucks as a basketball fan, but to me, this would not be serving the basketball good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. They should have asked it. Rhonda, what you think about the 22 team plan return?
It's too much. We're gonna have basketball, baseball, hockey, and football all going on at the same time. Nobody. Do you honestly think somebody's gonna be watching basketball? Basketball can't get people to watch it now. Nobody's gonna watch it.
They're gonna watch the playoffs.
Getting the ring for Kobe. That's gonna make no never mind. It's gonna be an asterisk by the ring anyway.
Facts.
And then they're gonna turn around and then start right back in December. Exit.
But I would say this.
Football time, baby.
I would say this. Initially, I wanted the season, to be axed for my own personal reasons. LeBron, I didn't want to see him possibly get a ring. But now,
in 22.
But now, I don't want it to return because I don't want the George Floyd situation to kind of get lost. We know when sports start coming around, stuff start going back to the way it was. And I don't want it to lose its sting, so to speak.
That's a good
point.
At
the same time, if it does come back, I hope that it's a big stand with the George Floyd. Like they make a big deal about it, a big stand. Like don't let this just die down. Like this is the time to strike. Go ahead, Rhonda.
what I will say is, if there is any organization that would do that, that would be the only reason I would want to see the NBA back, because the NBA is going to represent. That's one thing I will give them. They will represent. They're not going to get no backlash. It's not going to be no problem. They will represent. So that would be, if that's going to happen, then let's go for it. And then my LeBronnie's going to be getting the ring, and that'll be all good.
What?
Had to throw that in.
Yo, Bronny. Yeah,
that's right. LeBron. Yeah. That's right.
Justin says, "Let's go." It's just like it's
Ohio, baby.
1999. Stop it. And then Justin Campbell says, "Let LeBron get that ring for Kobe." Oh, just stop it with the sentimental stuff, man. First of all, don't act like Kobe and LeBron was just so buddy. Look, and don't get me started on LeBron. I go on a whole rant, but when he did that after he died, and
he's a hater.
I'm gonna do this. LeBron and Kobe was not close like that. Just stop it. Just stop it. But it looks like they're gonna be coming back. And I'm still rolling with the Clippers. So there it is.
Oh wow, I didn't know. Yeah, same here. I'm rolling with the Clippers, but we'll see. I think Paul George has to be healthy, and then they got a shot.
Yeah. So before we get up out of here, I'm gonna give my scripture today. It's from Ephesians 4, 1 and 2, and I like it in amplified version. So it says, and this is Paul talking to the church at Ephesus. If you read up on the story, it says, "So I, the prisoner for the Lord, appeal to you to live a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called. That is to live a life that exhibits godly character, moral courage, personal integrity, and mature behavior, a life that expresses gratitude to God for your salvation." And so the reason why I had a Bible study with one of our viewers, Justin Camper, and I just thought that I should use it for this show. But what stuck out to me about that scripture was the fact that Paul says, "Live a life worthy of the calling which you have been called to." So it's like when you have a calling in your life, it's a certain standard that you need to live by. You can't just be out here just living all crazy. But I like the amplified version because it said that is to live a life that exhibits godly character, moral courage, personal integrity, and mature behavior. So all those characteristics I thought was great. So Ephesians 4 and 1, look at that scripture. For all the people who feel that they are called to do something great for God, I encourage you to check out that scripture. And I believe all of us are called to do great things for God. So you should look at it anyway, because we all great. So that's it. I appreciate my brother Cliff for coming on with us. The original NFL Brat, I thank you as well. We will see y'all next week, Tuesday. Check us out. Thanks for tuning in. We out.
Bye-bye.